Hello, Targar friends. Hey, everybody. It's Jason Blaha here, and once again, it is time for another Orc Mode workout. Today was Max Effort Lower Day. Quick reminder for those of you who watch these videos, please click like down below. It would be greatly appreciated. We have a lot to talk about today. So people are already saying, hey, what happened? Why did you miss that good morning PR in the preview? My mid-back. And there's a lot to talk about. Also, let's talk about the fact that I use a safety bar. My infraspinatus is really inflamed still. So I got under the bar, put some bands on it under a straight bar. I'm like, you know what? I just don't want to go through this today. The safety bar doesn't aggravate anything. I still get stronger and stronger and stronger when I use it. Let's just use it today. Okay, let's just play it safe. I did a lot of shoulder training yesterday, and I started assessing it. And the last couple of days, I did start messing with more hanging a little bit. I'm not trying to do a true dead hang to where my full body weight is on it, but I'm putting, half my body weight into it. And I've noticed I don't seem to have impingement, signs of impingement. What I have at this point is a very seriously inflamed infraspinatus on my right side, and I've assessed that using different range of motion techniques. I've assessed it by putting a lacrosse ball and a massager into my back, and where the infraspinatus is, it lights up and hurts when that massager touches it, or the lacrosse ball. So I've been digging into that, and I've realized, okay, this is now what's holding me back. I'm going to keep doing the hangs a little bit, because I do feel like that can be helpful potentially for preventing future impingements. I have seen data on that. I've just been reluctant to do it because I couldn't until fairly recently. So let's talk about what's going on with these good mornings. Some people are like, oh, I think you didn't try on the PR attempt. Or someone said, the 381 looked really easy. What's up with that? Why did you miss that? My mid back has been hurting on every heavy squat I've done. That PR I set with the 605, it hurt. Like, that's where I felt the weak link. My middle back, what does that mean? Lower traps, lower lat insertions, that whole region. Slightly more so on the right side where that inflamed infraspinatus is. Is that a coincidence? I don't think that it is. May not be a coincidence at all. Again, inflammation downstream. Those are a lot of connected muscles. That area has been throbbing. Yet I've still hit some big PRs with it, but it's becoming a weak link for me, for all my squatting. So because it got so fatigued with those, I felt it on the other reps. And then I felt that area when I went down and went to the bottom, that area hurt. Okay, and I want to be clear. When part of your back hurts on a negative, I just let it hit the straps. I'm like, you know what? This is not worth it. Because even I've tested it on the straps for a second. I'm like, no, I am not going to strain that area trying to get this PR. I mean, it's a safety bar PR, for God's sake. It's just one of my weaker lifts. So, because we know I do a lot more. But let's talk about that too. Someone else had brought up the whole point of, why is there a disparity there? Well, there's going to be. Like, in all honesty, at my strength level, if my safety bar good morning gets to exactly 100 pounds less than my cambered bar, that would actually be pretty balanced. That would be really good. Okay. Look at where the safety bar sits versus a low bar, power bar, or the cambered bar. The bar is 6 inches further up on a safety bar. Okay, when you bend over into a good morning, that's a 5 to 6 inch longer lever. I've got big traps. That has to sit on top of my traps with the pads. And then the padding is thick. Okay, that center of gravity is all the way up over my neck. It's 6 inches further up my spine. That's a 6 inch longer moment arm. Now, if you can do 550 with it lower down, do some basic math. Okay, if I can do 550 on the other bar, to even do 450 with this one would be good. And it's just because of the levers, right? Basic physics. Then we did obviously three sets of 20 on the safety squats. And the first couple didn't go bad. The final set, I think I got to about 18 and I started getting really dizzy. I had to stop. The safety bar does that to you, by the way. But I tried to go pretty deep on all of them. Get the good hip involvement, opening up my hips and everything on every rep. So I got a really good stimulation from it. But let's talk about this. My middle back also, I stopped at only one set of good morning. Like, my back is done. Back is done. I did one set of 20, and it's fatigue. So let's talk about what we need to do there, because it's becoming my limiting factor. I'm not saying I'm not going to train quads and hamstrings and glutes and all those things. But my upper back is no longer a limit. It's my middle back, and it's on every bar. Every bar that I try, my middle back hurts when I get to, well above 90%. When I get above 90%. And the same thing with the rep work. The sets of 20, we're lighting that area up too. By the time I get midway through the set, my middle back is now my limit on my squat. If it's limiting my squats, that's important for the deadlift. It's going to be limiting my deadlift. So people will say, what are you going to do about it? Well, I've got to get stronger at rowing. Ironically, I know what people are going to say, wait a minute, lower lats and lower traps. Man, weighted pull-ups will sure help. Yeah, but I can't do those, can I? They sure would help. The irony of that is not lost on me. The exercise that caused my injury would be the cure for my weak links. But I'm going to have to do rows and other stuff. Okay, and I might mess with some prone trap raises and things like that. But I have to just get stronger at the rows. Well, let's come over and let's discuss why that might be a weak link developing. Okay, I'm sitting here with an inflamed infraspinatus, which is the largest rotator. It's the one in the back. It runs across the back. It's just above the lat. Almost between the lat and the trap, if you had to try to approximate where it is. And then it runs all the way up into the shoulder joint. Okay, it's actually a pretty big muscle. Like, you can find it. So, if my infraspinatus is inflamed in a limit, and we're working on it, and again, some stuff is helping. I'm massaging it, getting that lacrosse ball in, doing the rear delt flies, all that. So the rear delt flies seem to help a lot, but it is inflamed. Okay, and I need to get it stronger. So if the infraspinatus is inflamed, is that limiting my row performance? What do you think? I bet you it is. So as I get my rear delts and the infraspinatus stronger, and I get it under control, we need to get the row performance up. I need to get stronger at those rows. Okay, how else am I going to build that area? How else am I going to build that area? So is it any surprise that with the part of my shoulder that is inflamed, because the infraspinatus is actively involved in the row, that the inflammation could be interfering slightly with performance? And that's the lift that's going to fix my weak links. Okay. Now, all that being said, yes, I'm still going to train quads. Yeah, we're still going to do belt squats and stuff like that. Still going to do the 20 rep squats. I'm at a point, though, where I know my lower body is not limiting my squat and deadlift. My middle back, possibly some upper back still, but a lot of that middle back. We know my lower back is insanely strong. We can look at the lifts that I do, that we know my glutes are strong. My quad, I don't even feel my quads except on certain bars. Right? When I did that 605 squat the other day, I didn't even feel my quads. My quads were just along for the ride. They're just like, yeah, that's cool. The back is really where I felt doing the work. Like, it was struggling to keep up. It's what was limiting me and making me grind through. Right? But we're going to keep training quads. I mean, we don't want the quads to not get bigger and stronger. But I'm at a point where I feel like my lower body can now overpower what a lot of my back can handle. But some of the back is going to be limited by me getting that rotator cuff, the infraspinatus, under control, continuing to train it, get the inflammation under control, work on it, massage it. All right, do the hangs and stuff for my shoulder health, because I feel like any inflammation in the part we get with an impingement seems to be gone. I can put my arm up over my head and everything now. I don't seem to actually have signs of an impingement, and we need to keep it that way. And I need to continue to work on that range of motion and the shoulder health. Okay, I think I've actually got my impingement rehabbed, and I need to keep it that way. But there was a lot of downstream effects. When one thing got hurt in my shoulder, other things had problems. And then the infraspinatus has had some problems with a lot of inflammation around all of that. Now, it's currently my biggest limiting factor in my shoulder. So we need to continue to work on that so that I can get stronger at the rowing. Okay, I'm doing sets of 20 with like 160. I needed to bump it to 165 this next session. But I need to be getting that up to 185. If I can get my strict pen lay rows to 185 for sets of 20, Will that area no longer be a weak link? It might not. But that's just a short term. That's saying, okay, that's where it needs to be in the near future. It's going to have to get stronger than that. And then we're doing the inverted rows also, which help. So, but I'm going to keep that to the upper body days. Now, let's come over to the other point. Some people say, but some of that could be fatiguing you going into the lower body days. Sure it could. Sure it could. And I'm not disagreeing with that. But it doesn't mean it's not a limiting factor. If doing some hypertrophy work for a muscle like that the day before is interfering, then that muscle just needs to get bigger and stronger. So we have to keep training it, but there's a lot to deal with. There's a lot to unpack there as far as downstream effects from that shoulder. A lot of that shoulder is why some of my rowing, I backed off on rowing for a bit. Okay. So we look over at it and say, what is the real source of the muscle weakness? The shoulder inflammation. So again, and it's an area that it's different now. It's like I have it now isolated down to one muscle and tendon seems to be causing all of my inflammation because it's all localized there. And I've realized that as I've rehabbed it, the pain that used to go through different areas is gone. I have pain in one spot. Now it can radiate into the shoulder a bit in that area, but then when I find it and put pressure, that's where the source of it is. When I check for range of motion, that's where it is. Okay, so we are going to have to continue to work on it. I have to get my rear delts stronger, get my infraspinatus stronger, get it under control. Now, we still hammered lower body today. Why? We don't say, well, because this is a limit, we don't develop the legs. So we did all the belt squats. I'm doing the glute ham raises. Glute ham raises were hard today, though, man. After doing even that one serious set with the safety bar, because I felt my hamstrings on the safety bar squats. These were tough today. I got 20 on the first two sets. I got to the last set, I think I got to about 18. And I just couldn't go anymore. I pretty much had to grind through it. I just got too fatigued. My hamstrings were like, oh, we're done. But it's a lot of hamstring work. And keep in mind, I'm on a very hard setting on this. Some people who, let me put it this way, some of you guys out there who, if you deadlift 450 pounds, I'm going to be very, very clear. If you're a 450-pound deadlifter and a 405 squatter, the setting that I'm doing 20 rep sets on, you may not be able to do a rep. Perspective. So the hamstring, this is still very challenging. But after having done that set of good mornings, even that one set, the third set of this was almost too much. My hamstrings were just, they were done. They're done. Quads got a lot of work from all the rep stuff too. So quads, hips, glutes, hamstrings, everything got hammered real hard today. Now obviously my mid-back did too, but it was limited. Because again, I felt it a lot during those squats. And that's why I stopped short on the good mornings. I'm like, you know what? I couldn't really do the max. I want to get just one good set in because I didn't do good mornings on the other workout this week. Ease back into them. So what's the other thing that we do? We have to get stronger at good mornings. Because, yes, the rowing will help. That's a very important supplemental lift. What did I say in a status to you guys the other day? What does Louis Simmons and other people say? Your good morning should be as strong as your squat. What do I squat with the same bar that I do my best good morning on? It's 55 pounds heavier. I have a 550 good morning. And I know people say, well, that's crazy. Yeah, but I squat 605 with that same bar. Realistically, that good morning needs to be closer to 600. My quads are not limiting my squat. My back. I've got the quad strength. Again, pointing out, I'm still training quads. And we look at that safety bar good morning. My best is 406. That 411 would have been a PR that I missed. I've got 406. I do 531 for a squat on it. Now, granted, the safety bar is not going to have the same ratios. The safety bar is a totally different beast. I mean, if I get above a 500 safety bar good morning, that's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. I should be doing over 600 with the other bars at that point. But where do we go with this? The good mornings have to go up. They have to improve. The rows have to improve. because this is what's affecting my squats. Well, my back is limiting my squats. What's my back going to be doing on deadlifts? Because I haven't gone all out to a true max. Everything's been training maxes, hasn't it? I bet you if I take a deadlift to a true max, my middle back, I almost guarantee you it's going to be a limit. Rows and good mornings have to improve. Now the good mornings I can keep training. All these other lifts help with. These lifts I'm doing here all help the good morning. That's why it's strong. That's why my low back is, or mid back is a limit, because my low back and glutes and stuff are not. My hamstrings are not. So it's all back, back, back. And to get the rows under control, I've got to get my shoulder health continue to improve, and we get better, and we keep getting stronger. We keep getting stronger, but we have to address all these things. And it's going to take nothing but hard work and good fatigue management and smart programming. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.